Hello, US 101 class, and welcome to week 11. I don't think I actually made a regular announcement for last week's, so we didn't have 10. Anyhow, here we are, getting close to the end of the semester. Voting is taking place. And everybody's getting along perfectly. Nobody's having political debates anywhere. Right. So, I hope that's all working out for you. And I hope that you are getting your votes in. And what else I have to say? Well, it's interesting, right? We're covering a very interesting topic over the Mexican-American War. And this has some roots in political debates that are taking place now over immigration and the entire situation with the relationship with the United States and Mexico. I liked the documentary because it covers people explaining many sides, points of view about it. It's not. You would think that, especially a Californian, for example, would know a lot about this, but I bet many of you are having your first exposure to essentially how the finalizing of gaining all of the United States, the last of the Western, stops at the ocean, right? So this is the consolidation of creating the United States that we know now, except for Hawaii, which comes a little later. When we take it and dismantle, we take the queen down and basically grab the island as well. So anyhow, what else do I need to say? Keep yourself motivated. It's difficult, especially this time of year, and a lot of you are getting tired and overwhelmed, and I completely understand. But and also I just want to say this. I always want to encourage you to do like really, really well, to put your best foot forward when it comes to work that you're doing. But sometimes you have to do some self-care. You have to strategize. I give a lot of points, and some of you who are turning in a lot of work, some weeks you may be able to turn in less work or do less quality, get less points, and still do okay. And I'm only encouraging that to say I want you to just strategize staying in the class, but I also want you to focus on what you need to do to help you keep learning. And I'd rather focus on that, that you're not losing your love of this, and that you're staying on the information. So look, with this election cycle, look, even my Facebook is kind of, there's some nice polite, somehow we're keeping it polite, debates about certain things. I'm much more open about my politics and on social media. And in my class, I like to keep it as a safe space, So I hope still that all of my students are feeling like, it doesn't matter who you vote for or what your politics are, that this is a safe space for you, that I treat you like as your professor, not based on whether or not we agree with X, Y, or Z policy in the world. Okay, so I hope that that's been clear and that you've felt that and realized that. Now, having said that, I'm going to post a documentary clip along with my announcement on the U.S.'s government's role in Latin America. And it's put together by Al Jazeera, okay? And it definitely has a bias that puts a negative spin on that and essentially puts the onus on the United States governments for why there's such an immigration crisis. But it's also an almost, I know this history very well. I do teach world history. I know a lot about U.S. involvement in Latin America. And there's really not a debate that one can make to counter this information. What essentially happens is that this information is not covered by the other side. The other side of this debate is to not know about it. So if you don't know about it, which is the majority of people, and now I'm teaching you, now it's fair and balanced because you're getting the information that's not being discussed. The best way to try to defend, to address this from the quote-unquote other side is that the United States was fighting the Soviet Union for spheres of influence. And if one takes the approach that the United States and the West had a better political system than, let's say, the Soviet Union, the communists, and that the United States really, to push back any communist interests, no matter what you would do, would actually still be justifiable. In other words, the ends would justify the means. Then that's the way that you could approach this. So in other words, the United States would support a dictatorship that would torture and kill people, even women and children, in the name of stopping communism. That's a fact. There's no way of having a debate about that. And anybody who says different, they're just being desperate. Okay. But there is an argument for this Machiavellian kind of sense of, well, the other side was doing it as well. And if we have to make a choice between the two evils, we're going to go this route. And the idea would be that in the long term, this was the better choice to make. And this is what they call realpolitik, kind of the real pragmatic idea of how to do politics. That works for some people, that argument. But you don't really even hear that because, again, really, what the U.S. involvement in Latin America is just not talked about. Now, it gets talked a lot about heavily in college. And so I just want to say this one last thing before I go here. I would argue that the greatest recruitment for creating a college student to go leftist and to be, where we professors are accused of being these like radical Marxists that are going to turn you into America haters, is when the average, especially white American, actually understands the role that the U.S. has played in Latin America. And it usually makes people feel like they're betrayed. A lot of students feel like they're frustrated and angered. They didn't know this information, and it makes them not feel very proud. I'm giving you an anecdotal scenario to like what I think is something that I've seen very common throughout my college life, going in as a student and then seeing, things as a professor. So, my goal is just to get you informed because I know that a lot of you are not informed of that, and I'm a history professor. But you're not required to watch that video, and you're definitely not required to take the political leanings of the video. But at least it'll get you on top of a topic, especially since we have the issue of the caravan right now, whatever position you have. At least you will be more aware about what is going on south of the U.S., okay? And that's important, all right? Knowing your history, it's so important. And if you need anything, let me know. We'll be in touch. I am here in Leiden. Just got back from Amsterdam this morning. Had some breakfast. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful world in some parts of the world. And I wish the whole entire world could just be beautiful. I'll talk to you later.